Howdy ho! Welcome back, all you powerhousers.
Hello, everyone.
Zach Shue here, host, the other host. Dan, the host. I'm the other host. Dan Turbyville.
The hostess with the mostest.
Yeah, before we get to anything, I have a bone to pick with this audience here. You guys out there, you see me? Who am I talking to? There you are. I see you. I got my notes here. I'm very disappointed in you guys. I look back at the stats. Nobody watched last week's episode. Are you kidding me? I can't believe it.
Hey. You know what we did last week?
It says it right here.
Oh, let me see that. Oh, it does.
Was it Thanksgiving last week?
It sure does. It has all of the notes right here.
Wait a minute. That's my special. We didn't have an episode last week.
No. We did. We did for 5 minutes, and we were like,
we just had a howdy doody. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. For those who caught the little 4-minute segment where we talked about us and some gratitude for the show and each other, and I wished everybody happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for whoever watched that. And here we are back on schedule.
Back on track.
So welcome to the show. We're presented by Memphis Fence Company, MFC Manufacturing in Sao Paulo. Our Zach and Dan here. Zach and Dan are effectively
Indeed
in the building.
We are
so
here.
They say. Okay.
I think
that's it.
Wait. We are live.
We are live.
I have to figure out how to hold on. 901-878-4987. Man, we did that pretty good that time.
We got a good phone number here if anyone wants to call in. Is it scrolling across the bottom? We got a little ticker.
It is. So y'all just pull over. Don't have a wreck. Just pull over to the side and write that number down. Give us a call.
Cool. We got a guest. I guess they can already see Justin. Normally, we kind of wait to unveil the guest about a little ways after the intro.
There you go.
Oh.
Now he's gone.
He's already there. So I guess we're all three kind of sick, but I'm pretty committed to doing this unless it falls on a holiday, in which case family comes first. So
I mean, you were on for 4 minutes on a holiday. That's more than anybody else.
We cheated. In all transparency, we filmed it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
and I was like, I was at home, Ilaria was at home, and Zach, you were here.
Yeah.
But the other two of us were at home. So
you're a lot.
But we did something.
I'm just kidding.
Look who's talking.
No, we're all sick. We say that. Justin, you've been sick?
I've been sick all week. I don't know what's going on. I have this nasty flu bug, and my kids are both sick. And my kids are in elementary school. My second grader, one of the second grade classes, has 26 kids in it. And just the other day, they had 7 that were in attendance because the rest were sick. And 2 of them threw up during class. So they ended the day with 5.
Wow.
Yeah. So that tells you how it's going here in West Michigan with everybody being sick. It's pretty bad around these parts, at least.
I was home last week because we dealt with that all week. Throwing up and runny noses and fevers and coughing and all of that. And so I think I'm like at the tail end of it.
Luckily, I'm the only one. My daughter's kind of got a cold, but she's just toughing it out. She's 5 and I don't think she's affected by that. She's a ray of sunshine all the time. So
it's pretty impressive to see when kids get sick. And I mean, they'll go lay down for 20 minutes and then get up and start running in circles. And then we're on our deathbed for 3 days. It's pretty crazy.
Which is where that happens when they get sick, because they get us sick.
Yeah.
So that's the worst of it all, I guess.
Yep. So anyone who doesn't have kids, just be prepared. You're going to get sick a lot.
Yeah. Enjoy it now. Just, enjoy going through the whole fall, winter season, feeling fine. Once that hits 5, 6 years old, that's over. My buddy of mine used to always give me crap because I'd get sick every winter, and he just had his first kids most recently, and his oldest daughter Emma just went into preschool, and he texted me the other day unprompted saying dude, I'm sorry for picking on you. I'm sick all the time. I'm going to die. Right. I'm like, yep, you're welcome. And I just beat you to it. It's all.
It's crazy. So, Zach kind of touched on this a little bit, but thank you to everybody that does listen. And that is kind of what our Thanksgiving episode was too. But you can give us a like, a comment, a rating, whatever social media options there are. I don't even know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear some feedback. I mean, ultimately, this podcast spawned out of a desire to share our experience for whatever that's worth with the public.
It's for the listeners.
Right. I I mean, that's the whole thing. So any kind of feedback would be awesome. If you call or comment, if you're able to, if you're on a platform where you can comment during the show, we have the ability to post your comment while, and we'll answer it and use that as a
Maybe.
talking point. Well, we can.
Yeah.
I say we have the ability. So
Yeah. Thanks. And let us know what you want to hear, who you want us to have on the show, what you want us to talk about. Any of that kind of feedback is great.
So Justin, I don't know if you've watched any previous episodes or familiar, but we have a segment that I'll introduce now, which is Italian for the week. And I have a vision for a big
We need,
cartoony,
like, a
flashy
drum roll
thing,
or something.
introduction. But so once
Give
a
us-
week,
Give us some
Ilaria,
sounds. No, that's.
It's a drum roll.
Technically a drum roll.
I mean, it is drums. But that'll work. No,
it's
no.
better than nothing.
Okay.
We're getting it. We're getting there. So Ilaria speaks fluent Italian, is from Italy.
So she does speak Italian.
Yes.
Right. So, and so what we have, Ilaria proposes a word for us that's pertinent to the show, and then we all try to say it, and she basically grades us or degrades us, however that works out.
Yeah.
So,
So I picked 2 words this week. So number 1 is software.
It's the same. It's just software.
Oh, that's boring.
yeah,
what
I'm
I
not
say.
even gonna try.
Okay. How about technology?
But hold on a second. That's the joke. That's like the add a A to the end of an English word, and it's Italian joke, like software.
Right.
Okay, it's a coffee.
Did I tell you? I told you I was watching some like car show or whatever, and this guy did this like 4 or 5 times because they were reviewing an Italian car. And like 4 or 5 times, he just made up some word in Italian, and he was right all 5 times. It was crazy. All right.
So again, I'd like to interject this word cognate, which is the word that sounds the same in 2 different languages. They sound so similar that you can almost just say the same word.
that's the only way I get it right in Italian.
Is if it is the
I
same
agree.
word.
Yeah.
Italian. It's Italian for Italian.
Right. All right. So how about technology?
Tecnologia.
No, give us
No,
something
come
better.
on.
Sorry, y'all.
Come on.
All right, Justin, you got this one.
You want me to say it in Italian, or you want me to give her a different word to say?
The technology in Italian.
Technologia.
Yes, good
Yeah.
job.
Good job.
Give me an easy one. That must be my first time as a guest on the show, softball.
Yeah.
So, how do you say nose? I have like a stuffed stress ball nose. How do you say
Perfect.
nose?
He's
Nazo.
got it.
Nazo.
Yeah.
Nazo's
Like
fun.
nose.
The
But it
nose.
is fun. That
That's
sounds
cool.
like a children's cartoon character.
That's
I could
great.
see.
I never expected you to just pull a big fluffy nose off your desk.
Oh, I can't.
Turned into a cold and flu commercial.
My favorite ones around here. Here it is. How do you say toilet? I have a squish ball toilet too.
Toilette.
Toilette.
Vater.
What?
Vater.
Oh, that's way different.
Vatera?
No, there's no A at the end.
Oh.
Vater?
Vater.
Oh, like water? It sounds like water.
You spell like water.
Vader. I gotta get on you under to that Vader.
Well, I'm out of squishy stress ball objects, so I guess those are there are 2.
Well, that was a good
I
one.
like, yeah. I hope the show just turns into you showing us things in your house and we name them in Italian.
Do you-
Is there? I mean, you could do like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have an arcade
see
machine.
this arcade machine that he has behind him? That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Just show us something else. We'll just say things in
I
Italian.
have like a Legend of Zelda poster.
Was that a
Yes.
poster?
Yeah.
So, poster?
Poster.
Come on.
This is
Pretty close.
All right, we're moving on.
How do you say coffee? Is it just like cafe? How do you say coffee?
Yeah.
Cafe.
cafe.
What about in German?
Cafe.
Get out of here.
That word is too easy. So, I mean, I got too much stuff around. We could spend the entire show doing this, but
Right.
I
Cool.
don't know that the listeners will get much out of it.
Thank you for humoring me.
Yeah, but it is fun for
Anytime.
us, I guess.
That's what I'm here for. It's about all I can add.
So both Justin and I will be at the Thornton Fence Business Conference week after next.
Yeah.
So Justin is a presenter. He is doing the Fence Business Technology Forum. Do you have any preview of anything that you might talk about during that?
Not necessarily a preview that I can show. I mean, I do have a bulk of it done, but
I
it's going
know.
to be, I mean, the thing with me now at this point, and you guys have met me a few times in person as well. I've done a lot of different kind of presentations and speeches and just educational sessions. So I'm trying to really change it up this time and have totally new content, something completely
Cool.
different with a little more of a deep dive into solutioning out so people can leave with actual actionables around technology and what they think they can implement day 1, day 2, day 3. So there'll be everything from a little bit of artificial intelligence tease, just because that's been requested, to a new deck on technology in general, and then a panel, which we just sort of put together today, where it's going to have, 5 to 6, I think 6 total, of different software companies represented, where they're all just going to sit and allow the audience to ask questions and get all the stuff that they want to have and get advice from the foremost leaders in technology in the space. So Dan will be on that panel. A lot of people represented, but yeah, people who understand it, who know the pain points of it, who may be able to help you in your mission to implement technology and help you understand what some of the roadblocks and hurdles might be ahead of time, and just really help prepare you for the smoothest, growth transition into technology as possible. So a little bit more interactive than usual, but I also have like hours, which I don't typically have. So I decided to mix it up a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the panel will be audience driven based on basically Q&A. So
Yep, pretty much. I'll have a few seed questions just to kind of start stuff off. But yeah, really the goal will be, I mean, there's, I think 90-ish attendees now already registered for the Winter Fence Forum. So it's a lot more than we initially thought we were going to have. But it'll be kind of interesting to see what people drive forward with those questions, because those are what really need to get answered. And instead of just listening to me talk for 2 hours, figured I'd bring up 6 or 7 others that would allow it to diversify the knowledge and get everybody's different viewpoints. So that's kind of one of the things that's a lot different than any other time I've put on this sort of a talk.
Cool. And that would be the question I would have asked you, is how does this delineate from what we saw in Vegas and you?
Yeah, Vegas, there was just estimation software was in Vegas, this is going to have not just estimation, but all sorts of software. Cool. It's going to kind of combine software and AI, because there's a lot of people asking for AI, but I don't want to dedicate a whole hour to it. So we'll probably get 20, 30 minutes on different artificial intelligence changes and new updates in the industry. And in addition with that panel, obviously, we'll add a little more organic content to the mix.
Cool. I'm excited about the whole thing, right? Just being there, networking with people for a few days and all that's going to be super cool. And I'm a little bit terrified to go sit on a stage with y'all in front of 90 people and ask whatever random question they can come up with.
No, it'll be fine. They'll
basically like sitting at your desk here at Memphis Fence Company.
Well, that's true.
See, now you understand why I did it. Because if I didn't bring you all up, it would be just me trying to answer all those. Now I only need to know like 1 out of every 7.
And you defer to Dan on that question.
See, let's just defer to the panel. Mark, what do you think?
That's right.
So just chuck it at someone else.
We have to be paying attention.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna throw them directly at you. So anything I don't want to answer, you're getting. So you're just, I'm gonna give you the really hard ones, Dan.
Yay! I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
I like a good challenge. So my wife was on the show. I don't know when she did this. What, a month or so ago? And I mean, she came in here with some notes and she started asking me questions about, like stuff that people had been posting on the Fence Facebook groups and stuff like that.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Just put me right on the spot here live. Yes. So it was pretty exciting.
I'm sure you were 100% fine.
Yeah. It worked. So it's going to be cool. I don't know if people can still sign up, but if you can, you should. And if you didn't, I'm sure they'll do it again next year, assuming that, since there's a good turnout and all of that stuff, I'm sure it'll happen again next year. So definitely check it out then if you don't make it now.
I don't know what the plans are either, but I find it hard to say that, like, if an industry is asking for something, participating in it and learning from it, that it wouldn't be a repeat object. But
for sure.
Not my decision to make. So I was just invited.
Yeah, no, and I'm just speculating. I obviously have no idea. I'm just go where I'm told kind of guy,
Yep.
So do you have any other events that are kind of scheduled in the future in the fence industry?
Yeah, so I'll be at the Northeast chapter of the AFA in Connecticut doing education out there. We got invited to the West Coast Fence Show, which happens only every couple years out in Reno. Obviously, Fence Tech is huge. Fence Tech's, the big premier event of the year. for many, many years now. Fence Show is catching up real quick, almost just as big now. And it had a great turnout for the very first ever Fence Show. So we'll be back there, of course. But really anywhere that, the AFA, the FWA, whoever's putting on an organized event and wants us to be part of it, we try to facilitate making as many of them as we can. We can't make everything. There's things we invited to that we just can't make happen due to schedules or whatever. But I try to get around as many places as I can and help as many folks as possible. Like I said, can't do everything. So if you go somewhere and we're not there, it's not because we didn't choose to be. There's just sometimes it doesn't work out. But yeah, we're being now asked and invited to most of these, which is really cool because I've never been to a West Coast Fence Show, but that's in Reno, I think, beginning of September. So that one should be interesting as well, just because it should be a new group of folks, more West Coasters than Midwest and Eastern, like Fence Tech usually draws. So I guess we'll see how that all goes too. But yeah, I'm around quite a bit. I do a lot of stuff not in fence, as too, just because ArcSite is multi-vertical. So I was just down for the Synthetic Turf Council in New Orleans and all over the place. So I bounce around quite a bit. Keeps me busy, that's for sure.
So speaking of the Fence Show, Brian commented on here. He said, "Look at this crew."
Nice.
Brian he's a mover and a shaker for sure. That dude, I don't know if he sleeps. I'm pretty confident he doesn't.
I don't think so, man. He's everywhere doing everything. It's crazy.
It's incredible how much movement and value he's been able to add to an industry is wild in such a short amount of time. He went from the FWA not even being a thing to having a huge trade show just like that. And I was like, goodness gracious. And I got my FWA membership card in the mail the other day, like a physical card. And I was like, look at that. I got an actual card. So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. It was almost like overnight. This thing just came out of nowhere and it just exploded. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're focusing on, healthcare and benefits and member discounts and discounts at Lowe's and all sorts of stuff. Just if you're a little guy out there and you're like, I don't know what to do for health insurance, like they're fighting to make that sort of stuff happen. It's really cool to see.
Yep. So I talked to a guy that does the FWA healthcare forum, and the guy was super helpful. And unfortunately, I don't remember his name. It's been a few weeks ago, and I'm absolutely terrible at names. So please don't be offended. But I will say the guy was super helpful. He called me up and we sat on the phone probably like 30 or 45 minutes and he went through like every detail about what they offer and told me all about it. So I was pretty impressed with that. Customer service goes a long way for me. And when somebody picks up the phone and spends that kind of time with you just because you asked a question, it's pretty cool. So if you're looking for something, I'd suggest checking it out and at least seeing what they offer and what they could do for you for sure.
That's pretty funny on a podcast where our topic is all of these forms of technology that help to integrate our business to take out some of the human part of that. We're talking about AI, and I use a lot of automations in the software, and we're like, let's get the guy out of the field and he can measure these things from his desk. But then we're also on the other end, still have to maintain that level of human contact where, we still want good customer service. I still want to be able to call a person on the phone. I think that's a value that you're bringing is here's a real tangible person to talk to us about these non-tangible things that, for me, kind of being new to technology, they can be a bit, overwhelming at first. And maybe a lot of people are so scared that they're unwilling to even try to implement that,
Yeah. And that's kind of where I try to, just give a base level knowledge to help people understand the purpose behind it. It's not to replace people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not buying something without a human element. Not many people are, but people don't necessarily trust salespeople or trust sales processes. And there's a lot of things you can do to really improve the customer experience where you're not removing that and you're really just taking busy work off your plate with this other technology and AI. It allows you to be more in the field. It allows you to be more present for your customers, allows you to answer the phone quicker, because you're not doing other menial tasks that technology can remove. So it really just, if you hire a sales guy and they're half their days in a spreadsheet, I can guarantee they don't love that because salespeople are very talkative and they're not loving sitting down doing deep work all day. So if you give them the ability to really streamline out their process and do what they do best and talk to folks, they're going to be happy. They're going to perform well. Your sales is going to go up, all of the above. So my job is just to try to help educate people on the ways that they can best do that to empower their team to be better at what they're better at versus replacing anybody.
So that's interesting. That's what we try to do. And we had Felicia on here before. We've had several members of our team on. Donnie was one of them that we kind of went through a similar thing. But we always man, we'll put somebody in a position, and I mean, 3 days later it might change. But we like to just play into people's strengths, right? And so we see what they're good at, and we're like, all right, we brought you in to do this, but really we want to completely change gears because we think you would be better doing, something else. So yeah, I can definitely see that. If you could kind of like do that same thing with technology, I mean, it's a big deal. Put people doing what they're good at. I mean,
Yeah,
so
Matt Warner has a few stories I've heard him telling.
uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What do we do
Oh, that's-
now?
Stuff flips. Whoops, losing some connection here for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there he is.
All right. So last thing we heard, you said you've heard Matt Warner tell some stories.
Oh yeah, I've heard Matt before talk about he hired a guy in like for production or whatever. I don't know if this. I'm probably going to botch the storyline, but
Yeah.
long story short, exactly what you just said. He hired him in for something because that's what he had available and open, and the guy found it and hired for it, right? But the guy was like awesome, and he ended up moving him to sales, became a top performer, like all this sort of stuff because the guy had the personality. He just applied for what was open, and ended up in it.
Sure.
But without knowing your team and spending the time with them one on one and getting to know them and their hopes, dreams, desires, you're never going to know where to cast that person.
Yep. Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, so actually one of the things that I put on here was, talking about doing a demo and being like on the receiving end of a demo, but it's the same thing when you do an interview. How do you sit with someone for an hour and really know, what that software or that technology offers or what that person offers? It's hard. So all of that, I think, is kind of just what we have to do. I mean, we got to roll with the punches. We got to be fluid. So
yeah. A lot of it has a lot to do with knowing what questions to ask, both during a demo and an interview. So if you know what questions to ask, it'll help you get to the root answers you're looking for a lot quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We just hadn't figured those out yet.
Questions to ask.
All right. So next time we have Justin Judy on, it's going to be, what questions do we ask?
Well, I talk about that when I talk about looking for technology. I talk about how you can note down what questions you should ask, to really get to the bottom of it. Like questions like, how long does your onboarding process take? How long does it take me to learn how to actually use the tool? What are some things other customers who have tried to onboard with this tool have struggled with? Ask real questions, because at the end of the day, you're going to be in those shoes if you decide to go with that. And it's better to know what you could possibly run into roadblock wise before you run into the roadblock. We all like to see the hurdles coming so we can prepare to jump them versus just running into them, stumbling and trying to stand back up. So if we know what we're in for, and it's better for each software company to be honest and transparent, because there's no reason not to be. Very few of us are like contractual based where people get locked into anything. Right. So if you don't deliver value, they're just going to leave, and you're going to spend a bunch of time selling and onboarding and honestly losing money. So they want to be transparent. You want them to be transparent. Just ask the questions. It helps.
Yeah. I was going to say something. Oh, that's what we've been doing wrong. We're supposed to see the obstacle coming or the hurdle coming and get ready to jump. We just keep running into them.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it. I mean, if you're super determined, you'll get to the finish line, but I prefer not to hurt my shins on the way down.
Oh, I just pick them up and hulk to the finish line with an armload of hurdles. Dan, help me carry these extra hurdles, man. We got to make it.
Yeah.
See, but one cool thing about you doing that is then there's no hurdles in the way for everyone else.
There we go. Well, okay.
You're knocking the hurdles out of the way. As long as you're teaching what you're doing now and you're teaching everybody else, then you're doing them a service and removing their hurdles. That's the whole metaphor.
Right. That's right. And that's our podcast is we'll run through the hurdles for you so you don't have to.
Yep.
Powerhouse.
We don't need to jump them. We just plow them over in a true powerhouse mentality.
And you get to watch and laugh and learn from our mistakes.
Yep.
So speaking of some hurdles, so I sold this job, and it's I'm going to say some names, but I think I'm going to be okay with it. So it's an Ameristar Matrix 2 fence. First time ever. No idea what it takes to actually install it or anything else, but that's going to be pretty exciting. It's I messed with it for a while and finally got a contract on it earlier this week. So looking forward to trying something new.
What can you unveil for us some of the secrecy of this Matrix 2? Is it like a anti-climb or okay?
Yeah, so it's a high security anti-climb deal, and it's got like some some crazy wind load ratings that they required on the fence, and so I think the post footings have to be like 7 or 8 foot deep with rebar cages and all this stuff. I mean, it's going to be pretty intense. But
And these are specifications supplied by the manufacturer or the architect or
both.
what? Okay.
So a lot of times what I've seen is the owner or the designers may say, we want this wind load rating. And then Ameristar, I've seen them do it a few times where they'll go to work and they design something that will meet those wind load ratings. And I think that's what they did with this one. So, but
Yeah, everything you just said, 7, 8 feet deep, cages, rebar, makes me glad I don't install fence because that's difficult.
Yeah.
I'll stand here behind my desk and type away, you know?
Yeah.
So will we.
That's right.
No, see, but you guys still actually do fence stuff, you know? You
That's
guys
true.
know. I did do my first, and I will say do very lightly. I assisted with my first fence about 6 weeks ago now. Did the Arlington National Fence Cemetery project in DC, where NAFCA goes and replaces a bunch of fence, you know, just for free, just as a service project. They donate the fence and the time and the labor to get it all done. Sponsored by, you know, Fence Armor and all sorts of different people who donate stuff. But I got to pull out old chain link fence, including the posts, and help put some new ones in. And I actually hand digged some holes. It's hard. That's the way it looks.
Yeah, it's not easy, man. That's for sure.
Nope. Definitely not. I was really good at carrying stuff. I was like, I'll carry that. I can do that. You guys go ahead and do your thing.
So you are, in fact, a human being.
Yes.
And you're not just an advocate for the machine. That's my question. When I talk to Justin Judy, I'm like, why is this guy selling technology? He's computing ones and zeros to me as he speaks and translating it to English.
I'm just a fancy AI program. You know, that's all I am.
Pretty damn good one, just saying.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I've been wanting to make that joke. I didn't know if it'd be appropriate, but
anything's appropriate. I'm totally fine. Trust me, I've seen much worse.
So who we have here on the show is Justin Judy, not an affiliate of a company. And so this is in the
right. Well, he is an affiliate of a company,
right, but you're not here representing the company.
No, I'm not here on behalf of ArcSite by any means. I mean, I do work for ArcSite. You guys all know me as that. ArcSite puts out a lot of educational content and things, which I get to draw from to do a lot of the work I do. You know, but from day one, we've never had, you know, big marketing budgets in defense or anything. It's all been just about firm believer in the whole, you know, Joe Everest, rising tide raises all ships sort of thing. If you help everybody get better, that's good for everybody around, including us. So that's just been kind of the angle I've taken since day one. Just try to help and educate as many people as possible, and turned as many people off of ArcSite as I have onto it. So, you know, that's just kind of is what it is at this point. And I mean, Dan and I have sent people back and forth. You know, just sometimes things aren't good fits. So if ArcSite can help, cool. If it doesn't, or if you're doing a lot of spec work or whatever, then that's not us. You know, it just comes down to whatever you're trying to do. And I try to come onto these things more purely educational and share what I've learned, because I've had, I don't know how many thousands of hours of conversation at this point when it comes to fence. And I've attended, you know, a bunch of stuff, Mr. Fence Academy, all of Tony's summits. You know, I've sat through so many classroom sessions. I feel like I could start a fence company if I wanted to and be pretty good at it. But so now
I'm going to interject and say, Dan has you here dubbed in our notes as the unofficial software guru for fence.
Oh. I'll take the unofficial title. I don't know that I've earned an official one.
Well, it's only unofficial because I don't know who would make that designation, right? So until
Fence software guru Justin Judy joins us tonight on an episode of Powerhouse.
Right.
That sounds super official when you say it like that. But no, I mean, I try to help everywhere. I mean, I instruct with Tony, as you guys know. He's vouched for me plenty of times that I can remain unbiased. I am doing a large project with the AFA right now. I've worked with the FWA on things. I try to help everybody the best I can, because really, I live in software world. The average fence guy doesn't have time to live in software world, but I do. That's literally what I do all day. So it's easy for me.
Speaking of Tony, he, as we know, is a consultant. Have you done any consulting with fence companies or construction companies as Justin Judy, kind of a side project?
Pro bono wise, yeah, I've done a few pro bono stuff. I don't charge for any of it because that would just be weird.
It seems to me from the outside, it looks like you might be getting situated and maybe don't feel free not to answer this, but are you situating yourself in a position to move into consulting? It seems like you're there.
No, I haven't. I haven't even really thought about it. I love my
Yeah,
team,
now.
our customer base, and things like that, and just not even trying to give that political answer, but it's the
Right.
truth of it. I mean, I do work with a couple freelance consulting firms who will hire me to be an expert in a subject for something,
Cool.
which is really fun because you get to pick your own hourly rate, and they're really flexible.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's
you're
cool.
just like throwing out numbers, and they're like, "Sure." I'm like, "Cool." So they'll call me and they'll be like, "Hey, we have this company from here that wants to talk about integrated finance solutions with somebody, and they want a 2-hour interview. What would you charge?" And I tell them, and then they say, "Sure," and it's really fun. So that kind of happens from time to time, but that's not to do anything with ArcSight or anything else.
Sure,
That's just
sure.
for fun. But when it comes to fence companies and helping them, that's something that I really leave to the experts because I'm not an expert in running a fence company. That's why I work with people like Tony or Sean. If they call and say, "Hey, I got questions about tech," I'll lend my expertise to them and let them make the final determining factor.
Sure.
Right. So you mentioned you've been working on something big with the AFA. Are you at liberty to discuss this?
They haven't told me I can or can't. I'll essentially, it's not something massive or ridiculous. It's an educational forum summit where we're going to get all of the, and Dan, you know about it too. So you're just kind of playing dumb right now, but that's okay.
Yeah, of course. That's my job here.
Well, no, we're,
I'm literally dumb, so I'm gonna
yeah, no,
Do
we're
tell.
getting all of the fence,
fill me in, Justin.
all of the
There are no
technology
details.
providers together for one big summit to work together to produce educational content. So the great thing about fence that's very different in other industries, and I can speak from experience because we work in multiple verticals, people are really collaborative and don't see each other as like these horrible direct competitor threats to each other's business and livelihood like other folks do. So we're able to get everybody together to put together this large summit leading up to Fence Tech, where it'll be, half a day or longer of just webinar type style learning where the AFA will produce it and put it onto all the members. It'll be folks like, Simpalo and ArcSight and Fence Cloud and My Salesman and Job Nimbus and Company Cam and whoever, all on there talking about the solutions. And then they're going to put it into their new, I don't know if I can talk about this. Maybe I can. I don't know. They have a new learning management system. I'll keep it super vague because I don't know what I can say. Where they're going to load it all up into and allow all AFA members just to have this sort of content readily available for them at all times. So if you're somebody who's like, I really know I need or want some sort of software, I don't know where to start. I don't want to sit on a demo because I feel like it's going to be high pressure, or I don't want to waste anyone's time. I just want to learn. The AFA is doing a lot of legwork to consolidate all of that information, put it in one place as a resource for members to go on and learn as much as they can. You should see something coming from them as early as next week about this. Just trying to get some promotion out because it's going to happen in the weeks leading up to Fence Tech. I think it's like January 10th. Something like that. But it's going to allow everybody to sort of learn at their own pace, contact the companies they want to talk to without having to sign up, giving your information to a company like ours, where then, we could send you an email or something, which isn't the most horrible thing, but some people think it is. So you won't have any of that. You'll be able to go straight through the AFA portal, learn about everything, different recorded demos, ask questions, book demos, follow links, all that sort of stuff. And they're trying to systemize that where it's all on-demand content. So it's going to be a lot different than what we have in the past.
So kind of to summarize that, there's going to be a webinar that is all of the software companies basically talking about their system and what it does. And then after that, it'll be available on demand. Each individual company, you can go watch one of them if you want, instead of sitting through the whole 4 or 5 hour, whatever it is, webinar. And then there'll also be links on there to where you can contact all of them and schedule demos and stuff like that.
That's how I understand it. Yep. I have been kind of pegged to MC the events, to go through and do the conversations with the companies. So, me talking to Dan, me talking to Julie, et cetera, and going through and just discussing all the different things that their softwares do. It's kind of funny because I'm doing it as Justin, not as ArcSight. So I actually will be interviewing an ArcSight person, which is going to feel really weird for me. But it is what it is. I'll probably bug Alex or KP or somebody to do it. But it'll be interesting because I'm just Justin, and as a member of the AFA, because I'm a member of the AFA, and interviewing them. That's going to be the way it is. And then me and Nick will actually MC, Nick Reich, the head of education for the AFA. Everybody probably knows him. If you remember the AFA, the dude has every certification under the sun except for one. And the only reason he can't get it is because he wrote it. So he's not allowed to get his own certification. But yeah, no, so that's going to be us working through it and really trying to get as much information out as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool. I did mine sitting right here actually. And it's probably, it was an interesting experience. It's a little different doing this and just like having a conversation with a few folks versus doing that and like answering questions. So it's interesting. Ilaria's over here laughing at me
because he was freaking out.
Yeah, I watched a little bit.
Getting a live clean 30 minutes is hard. People stumble, and recording content is such a, I don't know, it's an intimidating thing for so many people. And even though you're naturally good at it, Dan, you might be nervous or have to prep or write notes. It's just because that content's going to be evergreen. It's just going to live there. So if there's something clumsy in it, it's going to be there forever.
So one day my kids can go back and watch how clumsy I was.
Yeah. But it'll be like a rookie card content when Sampalo's worth $30 billion. We'll be like, I interviewed him when he was nothing.
That's right. That's right. So, and this will be available to AFA members, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I guess it'll be sent out to all the members. So will it be available to non-members?
That's not a question for me. I have no idea. No, I haven't talked to like the marketing side of AFA or anything about how they're going to do their stuff. I've been working directly with Mike and Nick, figure out the best way to get the content to the masses in an easy way to digest, because we're worried about, just putting on maybe one at a time or something, because then people would feel like, there's an easy way to compare and contrast is just make it all on demand. You can go and watch one, you can go watch another, you can watch another, pick up which one you want, book a demo from there. That way you come in educated and you can know exactly what you're looking for, versus booking a demo with 4 that may not even be a good fit, so you can knock out a bunch of birds in one stone, watch them on your own time, and be best prepared for Fence Tech. Because if you come to the floor on Fence Tech, you can get all the demos at one time of all the ones that you saw at the webinar. So, it should be pretty cool.
So, I'm an advocate for this. Like, I've expressed that to every person in the software world. And I mean, because I've also been the receiver of demos, and it's very frustrating to have to go out and try to find what you want. Right. I mean, we have been like looking into CRMs and all this stuff. And man, I bet I've watched 100 different videos and gone to all these different websites and been through demos and everything. And it's just aggravating. Right. And I mean, me as a subscriber and as a customer, I guess, like I just get to the point where I get frustrated and I just sign up for something. I'm like, all right, we're doing this one. I'm tired of looking at it. We're just going with it. Whether it's the best fit for me or not, I don't know. But like, I just get to that point and I'm like, I'm signing with this one. Let's go. And, a lot of times I think we wind up trying to put a square peg in a round hole because all of the information is not easily accessible. And so I think it's lovely. I think it's a great step in the right direction. And I think every person should go sign up for the AFA, go join the AFA if you're not already a member, simply to get this benefit. I mean, I think you should be a member of all the associations, right? They're out there doing stuff for this industry. And I mean, they're not just sitting back and collecting a check and saying thank you. They are actively doing stuff to promote this industry and for the benefit of all the members. So, I mean, I think signing up for all of them is a great idea. But anyways, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this thing goes and see what it is when it's done.
Very charged. I've never heard you be so emphatic about a thing.
I know.
That's awesome.
You used the word lovely. I heard it.
I did. It was weird. I didn't really know what to put there, so I just rolled with lovely.
Yeah, you could have went with delightful. There were some options, but lovely was good. I like the choice. Yeah. But no, I agree 100%. I mean, one of the biggest benefits you get, like, even if it's not a monetary thing, like the networking, the people you meet, the experts you can lean on, those resources that you gain from being part of these associations are insane. Yeah. I mean, you'll start bumping elbows with $100 million companies day one, and you're just like, how did you do that? Because that's what I want to do. Yeah, and they're happy to help in 99% of cases. And I rarely see anybody who's like, I don't want to.
Just being able to pick up the phone and call someone, and I mean, even if you know what you want to do, and just be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Can you tell me if this is a crazy idea? I mean, that's an amazing ability or perk or whatever, just from that association and networking and all of that stuff. And I mean, I've seen it, in construction associations in general. In fact, before I got on here, I was on the phone with a guy I met through a local construction association. And I mean, I was asking him some questions about some stuff. And I mean, that is what you get. So, or one of the things you get, I guess. So let's you got anything else? Sorry, I was going to change subjects there.
Oh, feel free to change subjects. I'm good. I'm just color commentating over here.
I mean, we all just wing it, man. So you've as Zach pointed out, we had you Alyssa, this is my wife. What a lovely bunch.
Lovely. See, that's gonna go because I mentioned it. That's gonna be your legacy now. You're the lovely software guy.
I'm the lovely guy. All right.
Yes, lovely Dan Turbyville.
You should just change it to the Lovely Fence Show right now. You know, there's not even any reason to keep Powerhouse now that Lovely's on the board.
Right.
I've never in my life been described as lovely before today, so that's good.
I haven't heard anyone use the word in a while, to be honest. When you said that, that's a good word.
Wait a minute. What word did he just use?
Yeah, he said lovely. It
Does not compute.
I had to mention it. Now we're 5 minutes into talking about it. So,
all right. So
yes.
So we've decided that you are the official fence industry software guru, right?
Thank you.
So your title at ArcSight is Director of Business Development, right?
Yes, officially. I call myself the Swiss Army knife because I just do whatever job is needed. Like,
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good, man. Just point me in the direction you want me to go. Let me just
give me a task and I'll figure it out. If it's sales, marketing related, I'm sure I can figure it out.
Yeah. So how is it hard to talk about other software and technology without being biased?
At first it was, just because I was more worried about how honestly, like the people that write my paycheck, pays our CEO, Mike's my boss. I thought they'd care, but they don't. They're honestly like, hey, like if people come to us if it's the right fit, do your thing. And I'm like, cool. So, no, they're 100% supportive of it. And I've gotten better at it. It's hard for me because a lot of the times, even when I'm being not ArcSight Justin, I'm just being Justin, people know where I'm from. So they'll feel the need to acknowledge that or bring it up or say, oh, and you should check out ArcSight for a drawing thing. I'm like, you don't need to plug me here. People will do that just as a way to say thanks for some of the stuff. But that's some of the most, I don't know if it's the hardest part about it, but it can be a little awkward to a point where like, I'm just like at Tony's thing, I'm not going to be ArcSight guy. I'm just going to be Justin doing my thing when it comes to education. And I'll talk about ArcSight just like I'll talk about everything else. But I try to remain well-rounded. At first, it was hard because I didn't feel knowledgeable about everything. And I have a hard time speaking on something I don't know about. It's not something I'm comfortable ethically doing because I could say something wrong. And I'm not like a fake it till you make it kind of guy who will just say stuff, so there's a lot of softwares that I avoid talking about in some cases because I just don't know anything about them. Recently I've had the opportunity through the AFA and through everything else to really get a deep dive into everything. I don't know that there's one out there that I haven't seen, interacted with, used, or had a demo of at this point. If you're watching and you haven't demoed me your software, let me know because cool. I will gladly add it to my repertoire of knowledge to share.
Right.
I don't know
talking about it. Yes.
Yeah, because I talk about everybody. I mean, there's some softwares that are brand new. I had a guy named Drew get introduced to me through, I forget even who introduced me to him, but he owns a new software out called Reality Fence. It's an AR fence augmentation. I just learned about this thing last week. It allows you to stand in a backyard and visually place real 3D fences in yards where they look real on an app. It's pretty slick. It's cool stuff. I didn't even know it was a thing. He called me out of the blue last week and said, hey, are you open to talking to a new guy? He has a new app. And I said, of course. So I had this full meeting with this guy, hooked me up with a demo account. I made a fence around my own backyard in like 2 minutes. It was really easy. So I was like, cool, new thing I can talk about. If somebody's looking for a way to add visual selling to their repertoire, there's a new app for it. That's all AR based,
That's really cool.
And it's still in like the new testing type phases, they just released it. But that just shows like, it makes me feel good because I was the first person they thought to call. They're just like, hey, call Justin, tell him about it, learn what he thinks about it. Then he'll tell others. I honestly called Tony Thornton and said, hey, Tony, hop on a call, check this thing out. Like, see what you think, So then I start to spread it around because I want to know what real fence people think because my opinion, I don't always trust it as far as I'm a facts guy, not an opinion guy, but
right.
So I just learn about new stuff and I try to use it to broaden my knowledge base. And if someone says, "Hey, I'm really looking for this," then I know about it, and I can at least share it.
You got called first because you're the official fence software guru, man.
No, I was unofficial at that time. I just became.
Oh, right,
That's right. We
We
just
only made it official
awarded him
tonight.
Yeah.
official guru title
Oh,
today.
sorry.
Yeah, so I've become unofficial.
Okay, because that was on your resume, you got to official. There we go.
Okay, I'll add it. I'll add it to my LinkedIn. And then you can go on there and like write one of those little recommendation things,
Yeah.
whatever those are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it'll be real. Once it's on my LinkedIn and my resume, it'll be real. So.
We've talked a lot about fence. You mentioned other industries. You give us a brief list of the other industries that you work in.
Yeah, I mean, a brief list is hard because really anything you need to draw and eventually estimate. But our biggest other ones besides fence are foundation repair, basement waterproofing. We do a lot of site inspection work, security, concrete, asphalt, landscaping's big, gutters, pest control's huge for us, a lot of stuff like that. So really anything to do with the site inspection and drawing.
Okay.
Pest control is an interesting one to me.
Pest control became interesting to us too. And it wasn't something we never in our wildest dreams were like pest control app was not a thing. We were like, what the heck? But what happened was a lot of municipalities, local governments, states even made it required to submit what are called digital drawings for any WDI or WDO work, wood destroying insect or wood destroying organism. So essentially termites, right?
Yeah.
If your termites detected, they have to submit those to the government and they have to do it digitally. There's not a lot of great digital drawing apps that draw professionally enough to be able to do that. So because of that, we caught wildfire and pest control because our drawing app is pretty great for mobile use and they're always doing it in the field, right? So that's where we caught wildfire there. And we recently went cross-platform earlier this year where we support Windows, Android, everything now. So ever since we did that, it's just been a wild ride.
I'm trying to sell ArcSight on my show, man.
He asked me questions. I answered him.
You're right. That's right. I love this. I was surprised at the answer, but I'm very excited by pest control drawing apps. I don't know why that's
to be fair, I don't know how many pest control people are watching. I'm guessing it's not thousands.
I'm guessing it's 0. So
yes, if I'm trying to sell it, it's I might as well sell it to my stuffed stress ball nose. Right?
Or your dang toilet.
Yeah, I got a toilet too. It's a little squishy toilet.
That's where it should go.
I got this from a pest control trade show. Funny enough, this was from a pest control trade show.
Oh, so Zach, you have some history in the pest control world.
I do.
We talked about this early on.
I think this was my intro, like our first podcast. We did like an intro and part of my background story, which I think I would have not included, but part of my job history contains warehouse manager, production manager of a bed bug trap company.
Ooh, fun.
So so that's about the extent of it. So we talked a bit about my bed bug experience.
Alyssa gets excited about the bed
I don't
bugs.
find it to be that exciting.
It's pretty fascinating.
So
bed bugs are fascinating creatures, man. They go from 1 to 1 million in like a day. But no, a lot of people, like you asked about ArcSight and pest control, right? So if they're doing bed bug treatments in commercial facilities or hospitality hotels, they've got to map out where all the traps are and everything, and they need a tool. So that's kind of where we fall into place. But yeah,
so we weren't doing treatment; we were just manufacturing the traps.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. I never thought about pest control. Like, I don't know why I feel like they're probably a neglected industry from a software perspective as well.
Are they an industry? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, they're a pretty big one.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I just until you,
secret.
but it's one of those things that until you brought it up, I hadn't really ever considered
the same as
volume.
bed bug traps.
Right, exactly.
No one ever thinks about that.
So you think of a fence company and the amount of estimators it has, right? You talk to an Arrow or an Orkin, they've got tens of thousands of estimators.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's just like, it's a massive thing because, I mean, it's more treatment and service. The ASPs, are a couple hundred versus tens of thousands like some other industries are, but they're repeat business. They're all service-based. So they go back every month or every quarter, and it's just constant recurring revenue. So it's
also interesting to me that if you find termites, you have to submit some report or whatever to the government. That's crazy.
Yeah, the National Pest Management Association has a form that's called the NPMA 33 form. That's probably the most widely accepted across the nation for all the different ones. But each municipal, like Texas has their own that's completely different. Vegas has their own that's completely different. Southern California and Northern California have different forms, even though they're the same state. It just depends where you're at. Everybody's got a different rule, law, and regulation. It's just like synthetic turf. There's certain areas like Phoenix, Las Vegas that are banning the installation of natural grass. If you want to build a new property, no grass for you. So
because of water usage.
Because of water usage. You could do synthetic turf, or you can have dirt or rocks. So turf industry is booming in those areas, and we adapt there too. So
I love dirt or rocks.
So Alyssa asked,
Just
what
saying.
is ASP?
Oh, sorry. Average sale price, average selling price, whatever you want to call it. Pretty much the average sale for a company. So when I say ASP, I just meant like an average pest control receipt might charge a homeowner $500 a visit every quarter, whereas fence average selling price would probably be somewhere in the $5,000 to $7,000 range if it's different. What depends what it is. It can be wildly different. So Dan, you're probably better to speak to what an ASP really is an offense than me, but just depends on the company. Sorry, you got to use lingo. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense to anybody.
Sure.
Well, it makes sense to the people it makes sense to, though.
That's
there's that.
Yeah. See, so when you think about the stuff I know in fence, just imagine how dumb my brain is in every other topic of the world, because I have to know arc site stuff for all of these verticals.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be able to talk intelligently and about all of this stuff. So that's pretty impressive too.
Yeah.
So, which is a perfect segue into this question: Are you a similar guru in other industries like you are in the fence software world?
I think so. I mean, it really depends. I mean, I got the Synthetic Turf Council called me and invited me down to come do their speech at their annual conference in New Orleans. So I did. It just depends on what it is. We try to retain the same branding everywhere, where we just stick to be educational. And that seems to work for us because everyone likes education, and they know that we're not going to come and sales pitch everybody, because that's not how we operate. So because of that, I've been able to sort of build that brand. But yeah, we do it at, the National Foundation Repair Association meetings, the NFRA. We do it pretty much everywhere. The BHA, Basement Health Association, for basement waterproofing.
Man, that's crazy. Just imagine having to know enough to be able to go speak at conferences in multiple industries.
It's challenging. My wife loves it because I can't remember anything she tells me, but I can remember everything about all these dang industries. So she's like, "How does your brain work the way it works?" I'm like, "I couldn't
oil and water."
Yeah, man. That's Dan's analogy.
Yeah.
Oil and water.
Yeah. So, if you had a cup and you filled it up with oil, right? So oil is the important stuff. Every time you add water in there, the oil gets pushed out the top side of the cup, right? So the more water you have in your cup, the less oil you have. So you want to retain all of that oil and keep the water out of there.
Right. The oil being the useful bits, which useful is kind of a subjective term.
Yeah.
It's really pertinent to my job, I guess, is kind of how we use it, I guess.
Yeah, whatever I decide is more important is the oil, and I'm keeping it, and you can keep your water.
Yeah, no, every Friday I have to be terrified and go ask my wife what our plans are for this weekend, even though she's told me 30 times in the past 2 weeks that we have plans. I'm like, we have something tomorrow? That's a terrifying question, because it's always yes, and you should know about it.
I told you already, is the response I often get.
My wife is listening, and I'm excited about the comment we're about to get for
You
that.
men are all the same.
Yeah. People will call me and be like, "Hey, what's your plans on Thanksgiving?" I'm like, going wherever my wife tells me. I don't.
That's 100%. My wife
plan to work until dark the day before, and then find out after that.
Right.
My wife is a real life superhero. It's incredible all the stuff she can accomplish, because she works a full-time, high-stress job. She does child support enforcement and mediations between parents and about non-parents now, people going through a divorce and they won't agree. So to try to keep them out of the court system, she tries to get them to agree. So, that goes super smooth. And then we've got multiple kids and they've got all sorts of stuff, and she keeps, everything in line. So true real life superhero.
I'd be interested to hear some unconventional methods that she's used to get people to agree. I think ice cream would be a good one. I mean, if it's me, but then again,
I tell you what, I'll sweeten the deal a little bit. We'll go
Right.
to Ben and Jerry's after
That's
this
right.
if y'all sign off on this thing.
Right.
You
Well,
guys just
at an ice cream
agree-
shop to
Yeah.
discuss, like
Yeah, because it's always something to do with the betterment of the kid, right? At the end of the day, like the goal is to get the best resolution for the child, right? And the parents are bullheaded a lot of the time and are just like, I'm not doing it because that person wants A, so I automatically don't want A. Even if A is the clear right choice. So it's a fun situation to be in.
Have you read Chris Voss's book? What is
Never
it?
Split the Difference?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I've read it twice. I might have it around here actually.
Yep. So
how do you say it in Italian? Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
She's not even paying attention. Look, she's over there.
Never Split the Difference is the best negotiation book you can ever read. I seriously believe that.
So I like the part in there. He talks about a study that was done to people that had some sort of brain damage that like messed up the part of their brain that produced emotion. Right.
Mhm.
And so those people were unable to make a decision about anything. They said that they could like logically explain the choice they should make, but actually making that choice, they couldn't do it because they didn't have emotion. So that was pretty interesting to me, that no matter how objective and emotionless you try to be about anything, ultimately your emotion is what's making the choice.
Yeah, and a lot of people only make decisions for one of three reasons. It's pain, it's gain, or it's fear of pain. Either you're experiencing some sort of pain in your business or life you need to fix, you feel like you can gain from doing something, or you're going to do something now to avoid pain in the future. Other than that, people are just like, I'm not making a decision. I'm comfortable with everything else. And that book is when it talks about mirroring and labeling and that if you read it, you'll see me do all the time and you'll be like, he's doing that thing again. So if you read that book, you'll learn half my secrets. So you should read it.
It's pretty cool. I told Zach a bunch of it. Every day I'd be like, hey, Zach,
Right.
let me tell you about this book. And he's like, oh, here we go again.
The guy was the FBI's lead hostage negotiation for like international and large scale hostage situations. So like the whole book is about like, there's no meeting in the middle. You either win or you lose, and lose is very bad. So you have to win 100% of everything. And that's what he teaches you how to do. And he went into Harvard and debated against their debate professors. And it's incredible. He just frustrated them beyond belief with his techniques. And they're like magic. I hate to say
we're not
it.
talking about applying this to our marriages, are we? Is that what we segued?
No, my wife read the book and it was really annoying for like 2 weeks after. I'm being honest. She read it and then she just, for 2 weeks after I was like, stop doing that. I know what you're doing.
That's awesome.
It was funny because she did it constantly and she just knew she was doing it. And it was really funny.
That's
but I knew she was doing it too. That's the secret. That's why it's hard to sell to salespeople because we know what you're doing.
I like how he says, if someone takes 4 hostages, you can't go to them and be like, hey, why don't you just give me 2 and you keep the other 2 and we'll call it a day, right?
Yeah,
That doesn't work.
You have to win 100% of everything in every negotiation. So that's why it's hold the line on pricing, don't do discounts. Like all of that stuff is all in those tactics. And they're great. Never Split the Difference is an absolutely fantastic book to read if you're in sales and or not.
I mean, I think it's just cool in general. Like
fun to read.
I don't get very many opportunities to negotiate with someone on a sale at all. And I still think it's neat to listen to. So Josh brings up a good point here. He says, if we're married, we don't make any decisions.
Yep. I was going to pull it up in my library because I have it on Audible too.
Yeah.
Just so you guys could see the what it looks like.
Oh, the book?
Yeah. It's yellow and red if you haven't seen it. So it looks like this.
Yeah.
Yep. I have the audiobook and the physical book. So, that's dedicated.
I have it.
See? Do you guys know I know a person who...
Hold on.
Michael Kramer. Now we're going to listen to it.
Well, can't do that.
3 days of us listening to this.
Right,
now.
that's right.
I know a person who listens to audiobooks while reading a different book in hand.
What?
Justin Judy.
So
that's the person?
2 at a time. She listens to a book and physically reads a book.
Wow.
That's crazy.
She's read 1,000 books this year.
What?
That's what she says.
I
don't
know.
know if it's true.
That's pretty cool, though. Just the concept's cool.
Oh, Robert Whitaker at Magnolia Fence. He said he listens to the books on like 2.75 or 3 times speed.
I do 1.75 or 2, but 3 is too much. They sound like chipmunks.
I'm listening at 1 and I'm having a hard time while I'm driving, like paying enough attention to even know what this guy's saying. I feel like I need to be taking notes. I mean,
That's
it's
an interesting guy to talk about too. Robert's making a lot of moves with it. He's starting doing consulting work, and
Yep.
with
Well,
all of his purple theme out there, he's having a blast. So
purple coaching.
Yep.
Yep. So I mean, we're at an hour, and
I
like
think we're good.
we made it through. We made it halfway. So
Halfway through what our talking points that you made.
yep. We made it halfway through. So
Really?
yeah, that's
pretty good. That's better than I usually do. So.
Yeah. So there's a lot more in here. Maybe we can convince you to come back on the show sometime, and we can continue on down through the list of stuff here.
I don't mind. It was fun. No, I'll do it anytime. I really will. I try to do my best to be ever present where people can gain from me being there. And I don't pretend to know everything or even most things. But if I can share one or two things that helps, then happy to do it.
Will anybody be recording the panel at whatever that show is called, the Shangri-La event?
Winter Fence Forum one?
Yeah.
I had that question earlier today. Someone texted me and asked that. I just realized I never replied to them. I should do that. Bad me. But I don't know. So I will ask. But someone asked me that earlier today too.
I think I would like to like embed that in this episode or have a link on our page to that. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll ask Tony. I don't know if it's being recorded or not. I know that it's a huge value for folks that'll be there, but I don't know if he plans to just, put it out to everybody or if it's literally just an intimate experience for whoever's in person.
Sure.
So Tony, figure out how to charge people to watch the recording.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
People are paying to come to the event. So like there isn't some monetary value like to the information we're getting, right? So figure out how to charge people to watch it, record it all, stick it somewhere, and let them pay to watch it.
Yeah, you could chuck it up on all sorts of different hosting services and go from there. Like, oh shoot, what's that one called? It starts with a V. It's escaping me all of a sudden. It's a video recording. Like it's almost like a YouTube, but you can make it payable if you want to. You just can't.
Vimeo, I think.
Vimeo?
Yeah, Vimeo. That's the one. You could chuck it up on Vimeo, make it like even a couple bucks. I don't know. That's up to Tony. Tony's not one to really money grab anything. So I guess we'll find out what he does. But if it's something that the larger audience wants access to and it's recorded, you never know.
Well, just remember where to send that 10% commission.
Straight to Justin Judy. So. Otherwise, I mean, I'll at least be like an educator on the content, right? So I should get at least 1% of it.
Oh, okay,
right.
Okay.
Now we gotta start.
But you'll be up on the panel at some point. So
that's right. So don't forget my royalties then.
Yeah, royalties. No,
man, I'm that guy where people call me and I'm like, nope, Simpalo doesn't work for you. This software is not what you need, And so I try to be kind of like you. And I obviously don't know as much about all the different software offerings as what you do, but I know a decent bit about them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have a lot of the software that's offered. And so, I mean, I try to help people and like steer them in the right direction of where they should go. And a lot of times I wind up talking to people for like a couple of hours about other software and what we use and how we do things. And, it's all just to kind of help the industry. So I think that's cool. And I also take the same approach. Like I was on the phone with somebody a week or two ago and they asked me about something. I was like, I don't really know a whole lot about that. So you should probably do your own research and find your own information. I'd be happy to help if I knew, but I don't. So.
And Dan, I'll just give you a shameless plug here. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, Dan had a guy come in for a Simpalo demo and it wasn't what he was looking for, not a great fit. And he shoved him over to ArcSight and said, go check that out instead. I think it's a better fit. So Dan, I can vouch for Dan saying that he will not sell.
What a lovely guy.
Yeah, how lovely.
Lovely Dan.
So it's funny. I told Justin this, right? And he didn't believe me. So no, he didn't believe it. And then like, I don't know, a month or two later, I remember we talked again and I was like, I told you I was going to. And you're like, okay, yeah, now I believe you.
Well, other people have told me the same thing and they're like, yeah. And that they never will. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you're just a competitor and they won't do it.
Yeah.
But you did. And I was like, look at that. We kind of felt that way like at first coming into the industry because fence is so different than a lot of the other industries. People are willing to do that and send people back and forth. Other industries, no secret sharing, no secret sauce. They won't tell you anything they're doing.
No.
grow their business. That's just like kill or be killed out there. So it's coming into fence was extremely refreshing. Be like, wow, these people actually like each other. This is weird. So, you know,
Sometimes.
I got used to it, and it was proof that proved it to me, because at first I was skeptical, just like I am with everything. I'm a very evidence-based guy. I'm a
Yeah,
skeptic by nature. So unless I see something with my own eyes or know that it works, or from somebody I innately trust, it's not a thing until I can prove it out. So I try to
Right.
not speak uneducated about things.
Yeah, I just want to give you a hard time.
We have pretty
Anytime,
good
I'll get it.
relationships with fence companies outside of a 100-mile radius.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's like this old school thing where people used to not get along. You know, it's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of in that. So
Sure.
the new thing that's happened over the past few years is everybody's kind of started realizing that like
I think
we can
even-
be better if we all
I
collaborate.
think even
and stuff.
internally we've experienced some of that
Yeah.
here at Memphis Fence Company.
Yeah.
Like some of the employees are kind of like, I don't know why y'all are giving away all the secrets, or
Right.
you know, kind of a
Yeah. And I mean, I kind of made a joke earlier when I was talking to that contractor I was telling y'all about that I know through a local association here. And I told him, I was like, you know, none of the local fence companies want to talk to me about Simpalo at all. And they're like, no, you can't know what we're doing. I'm like, you're getting invited to the same jobs as me. So like, I'm not
right.
going to go
I
on
see
there.
you when I go to the job site to
Right.
bid the job.
So, I mean, and there's no secret sauce, man. Like not anymore. Everybody knows how to bid jobs. Everybody knows what the margins need to be.
I want to
Now-
call them. I want to call a couple of companies. and just,
Call the locals up and be
Yeah.
like, hey,
what is really going on? I'm new to here, guys, so I don't really understand if there's some old bad blood. And
well, they're probably listening. Well, if they made it this long, talking crap about you right now. Well, hey, local people, if you are listening and you do want to talk about Simpalo, I promise I'm not going to look.
Dan's
and see
a
what you're
lovely
doing.
guy. Let's be friends.
Yeah, I can't even see what they're doing. That's the
Cool.
funny thing.
Well, you got anything, Justin, that we missed, or you really just have to say, or anything? I think we're kind of winding down, and
No, I feel pretty good. I'm excited I'm a huge college football fan, and things have been going good for me lately. And got our championship game coming up this weekend. So, you know, just if there's any Michigan fans listening, go blue. But other than that, no, that's all I wanted to get out there.
Cool.
Completely unrelated to everything fence.
No, that's good. I think that's good.
We wore our blue in support.
Thank you. I appreciate it. If you looked around my room, there's
Go
Michigan.
Justin's team.
Right. Whichever team he said, go the
Go Justin sports team and or college. Yes.
Right. That's right. Well, man, I hope you get feeling better and get 100%.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
doing
if I
pretty
feel all
damn
blotchy
good.
and shiny. I apologize. That's just
Well,
me having a fever. No big deal.
You're holding it down. You didn't exhibit any like
I didn't pass
speech
out or
burn
anything, so that's a win.
or stammer over your words. You're
Oh.
doing pretty good to present yourself still
Yeah.
sick and all. So
If I start stammering over words, I'm gonna have trouble. I actually just did. I didn't even say stammer. I said stammer. See, that's how I know it's time to go to bed. It's only 7 p.m., but I'm old and sick, so it's about bedtime.
Well, man, thank you so much for joining. Looking forward to seeing you at Fence Tech. We didn't ask. I'm assuming you'll be at Fence Tech.
Yep.
So I
will.
won't make the winter summit, but I'll see you in
Somebody has to
Nashville.
stay here and pay the bills so I can go travel around.
Yeah, that's right. I can't go to all of them. So, man, thanks again for being on the show.
Place too. The Fence Tech in Nashville should be a blast. I've been to Nashville plenty of times for work, different things, but this is the first time Fence Tech's been there, and it's a great city. A lot of fun.
Yeah, so I think it was Fence Tech was there in what 2014 or 15 or something like that. But so it's been a little while. I don't know if it's been there since then, but it is
Nashville.
Cool. Yeah, Nashville's a cool place, man.
It's grown a lot. They call it Nash Vegas now because it's like
Right.
a Live Las Vegas strip.
Yeah,
And it's intense. Walking down Broadway down Nashville now is crazy.
yeah,
It's fun time.
Say
It'll
the
be
neon lights are bright on Broadway.
yeah.
Different Broadway though, but you know it applies.
they're very bright on this Broadway now. It might be more than the original Broadway. We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
Thanks
Well, I
for having me,
appreciate
guys.
it.
I appreciate it.
Thanks
Yeah, man.
everyone for listening.
Thanks a bunch,
And
everybody.
we'll talk about getting Justin on for part 2.
Right. Thanks for tuning in. You
Thanks.
guys make this thing happen. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Thanks.